Keeping it in the family, a lot of star power, Shador and Shai.
Teary-eyed because the guys have presented me with the game ball, one of the best moments I've ever had in my professional sports career emotionally.
What was the reason you wanted to be the head coach at Jackson State, and what really just brought you here?
You guys, I want to coach you guys on the same team again.
Before you knew we was coming, what brought you over here?
God spoke in my spirit and challenged me to come here and provoke change, not just at Jackson State, but for all HBCUs, and level the darn playing field.
The people want to know how far we're going to take it, though. I mean, we know. But
we're going to the bridge, baby. And we're going to cross it. And we're going to go back across it. And we're going to go back across it again. When have we ever have done anything? I ain't never have done nothing. So we're going to do this thing like it has never been done before, but there's an expectation of that. You know, I have an expectation. I think what people got to understand is not only me, but several members of the coaching staff, we come from the pros, man. So our level and our thought process and our understanding is here, and what we've seen, what we've felt, and what we've dealt with in the Super Bowls and all that, and the playoff games. Man, we have experience, and we know how this look.
How would you have coached a younger version of you? Here go Primetime 2.0 right there.
How would you coach me, pretty much?
Well, you are tough. You are the son to keep me on my knees and keep me praying, because you're challenging. You're very challenging. You always have questions instead of just doing what we tell you. You always have questions. He, on the other half, he gets what I say later, but he internalizes it and he tries to incorporate it, but he'll see the fruit thereof of it later. But both you guys are phenomenal players, and I think you're gonna play on Sundays one day.
So how does it feel to be able to coach us now at the next level?
Well, it feels good, but I hadn't been able to coach you guys at a college game. Both you guys are ineligible to play because he played last year in South Carolina. You still considered a high school kid, even though you graduated from high school, so you're not eligible to play till September 25th. As of right now, if my count is correct, I think we're at 192 days. Something like 192 days until we get down. September the 5th. So I'm counting those days down. Well, I walk towards the end zone and our conversation thereof that we will have. And when we hit that end zone, that pile on and come back the other way, it's time to get down.
So since we got players that can't play and, you know, the players are already here, what are you looking to get out of this season, this spring season?
And you guys got to be excited. You guys got to be excited to understand that what we did this past Sunday, and we did that with probably 4 or 5 guys that is going to have to fight for a starting job in the fall on both sides of the ball. And that equates to a better special teams as well. And we were very dominant in all 3 phases of the game, and I was particularly happy about that.
How do you think HBCUs will get big players coming out of high school?
Well, everything. Every phase of it, we got to improve so that we can attract those type of kids. So we don't give them any reason not to. We want to give them every reason to. But I don't want a child just coming here because the uniform looks good, or he think he's going to be on TV every week. I want him to come here because he think we can develop him and take him to the next level. That this is an address as well that can lead to the NFL. That's why I want him to come.
What message do you have for Stephen A. Smith?
Stephen A. is my dog. Stephen A. is my man. Even though sometimes we may disagree, but it's disagreeing out of love. I really do think Stephen A. is a national treasure that we hadn't yet recognized what all he brings to the table and how valuable he is to our community and to our people.
All right, Deion already getting his first win. Look at that, 53-0 over Edward Waters. And next up, they have Mississippi Valley State, alma mater of the Hall of Famer Jerry Rice. And Stephen A., some kind words there. You heard Prime calling you a national treasure. That's not appreciated as much as he should be, especially by your community. I also want to mention, guys, I love the way they did that interview, Shiloh, Shador, and just seeing him interact with his sons. How much fun is that he gets the opportunity not only to be at an HBCU, help his own community, but also be with his family? So, Stephen A., I'll ask you this. What would be success for Deion at Jackson State?
Well, he's got to be, you got to win football games, win division titles, win the conference championship. They will last won the division title, I think, in 2013. They will last won a conference championship in like 2007. if I remember correctly. Forgive me for diverting away a little bit. I didn't know that he had said that about me, and I'm really humbled and touched by what he had to say. Deion and I have been friends for years, and he's my brother. I love him dearly, and I have so much respect for him. Knowing what he stands for, knowing what he's about, we share a lot of, private and intimate conversations with one another throughout the years, and I know how passionate he is about coaching, but I also know how passionate he is about being the leader of young men. And that's what being a part of an HBCU program is all about. And he alluded to it earlier in the interview with his sons. And obviously they look like him, they can ball, and you can see how much of a proud papa he is. And I love the imagery of them talking to him and interviewing him, because just like he has strived to influence them, obviously, all their lives as their daddy, this is what he wants to do. Obviously to some degree, to young men, young African-American men throughout this nation. This is a man that wants to make a difference, and he knows that he has to utilize football to some degree in order to pull that off. So when you talk about him coaching this football team and striving for it to be successful, Max, he understands what it's going to lead to. The more successful he is at Jackson State, the more it shines a light on a program. As a light is shined on a program, ultimately he knows he can be the conduit to it shining a light on HBCUs, which is where a lot of black men choose to attend colleges and universities and ultimately graduate from it and go on to be contributors to our society in a very, very positive manner. And so for me to have to talk to him, to have the pleasure of having talked to him about this on several occasions, for him to be a part of an HBCU program and to lead them. He knows he's got to win, and everything about him says he's a winner. He was a winner in professional sports. He was a winner on a collegiate level. Individually, he's the greatest cornerback that's ever played football. But I'm here to tell y'all something. I don't give a damn what you see about him as an athlete, a football player, or now as a coach. In my opinion, based on my friendship with him and knowing him, it is nothing compared to the man that he is. He is an incredible, incredible person. I love him like a brother. He's near and dear to my heart all the time, and nobody roots for him more than me.
That's quite a compliment he paid you, Stephen A., especially because the subject is around HBCUs, and I want to hear actually a little more from you about what that means to you, considering the subject. I'll just quickly say that Deion Sanders, I'm trying to think in the history of sports, especially in modern history, when someone on Deion's level decided to come back and coach. Like Michael Jordan didn't coach. Who was he a head coach for? Or Lawrence Taylor or whoever it is, Joe DiMaggio, or, the greatest players throughout history generally don't come back and coach. And certainly at a place that represents the kind, in certain respects, their beginnings. That is unique. And a lot of times it's because the super talented don't understand what it takes for normal human beings, not supernaturally gifted human beings, to win. They get frustrated, right? Why can't you do it the way I did it? And that's not Deion Sanders. He's in the argument for greatest athlete of all time, considering the way he played football especially, but also baseball. And what he's showing now at this point of his life is a new dimension, especially when you consider the way he was treated by the media early in his career. He's being selfish by trying to play two sports, stuff like that. We see a real selflessness and sense of purpose that he hasn't been given enough credit for. But I'm curious to know more about your feelings, especially more than your thoughts, with that compliment he paid you, especially around the issue of HBCUs.
Well, I'm humbled by it. I think that, one of the things that I consistently have said, Max, is that I don't care if it's an individual, if it's a team or anything, there is nobody, outside of me trolling Cowboy fans, of course, there is nobody that can look at me and when I have to call people to the carpet or get on them about what they have done or what they're doing, there's no one that can look at me and say that I'm somebody that's rooting for somebody to fail. My attitude is I want everybody to get theirs. I want to try to uplift as many people as I possibly can. But I'm unapologetic about the fact that although that I'm that way in general, there's a special place in my heart for black folks, because of the challenges that we face day in and day out, coming from disenfranchised communities throughout this nation. And that's one of the things that I've religiously talked to guys like Primetime and others about. And two people that really touched me, and I've brought this up sporadically in the past, is Deion Sanders and Isaiah Thomas, the Hall of Famer that is Isaiah Thomas. I was a high school reporter, Max Kellerman, in New York City for the New York Daily News. And I remember one time I showed up to a practice. The Detroit Pistons were playing, scheduled to play the New York Knicks. Isaiah Thomas was approaching retirement. At that particular moment in time, he wasn't talking to the media, but he saw me. And he said, "Come over here, young fella," and he granted me an interview. Nate Tiny Archibald did the same thing. Years later, when I was covering college sports and Prime Time was the man and all of this other stuff, he saw me walk into the locker room, and he came to the media and he said, "I'm done." He was talking to the media. He said, "I'm done," and came over there and gave me a hug and started talking to me. And that was the first time we had met. And at that time, he was a Baltimore Raven. He was a Washington Redskin. He wasn't with San Francisco or Dallas. And I think back to moments like that where you see a person that has arrived and they reach back to uplift you. They see some potential in you. They talk to you. They give you guidance, but they never encourage you to compromise yourself or who you are or what you're supposed to be doing in this business. And I love the fact that when he brought me up, he pointed out the fact that we disagree, because we do disagree from time to time. We just disagreed the other day because even though I thought he was absolutely 1,000% correct in what he said, when somebody stole something from his locker, I came on First Take publicly saying, "Hey, you know what? I might have handled that a little bit differently, more in-house." That was one of the things that we disagreed about. It's not the first time we've disagreed with each other. It ain't the last time. But he knows that I'm rooting for him and I wish him the best. And just because I might disagree with what he may have done, or he may disagree with what I may have said, we don't disagree with who we are as men, as black men. And our mission to help uplift as many people from our community as possible, and to go about the business of putting forth our due diligence to be all that we can be, so we can help inspire others from the communities that we come from to be all they can be. We're like-minded in that regard. We're like-minded in that agenda, as is Isaiah Thomas and so many others. And that's where the love comes from, man. Looking each other in the eye, man to man, knowing that we're as real and as authentic as we can possibly be with one another, and knowing that we care about stuff like that. That's one of the reasons, Molly, you know what, there's been times in the past where we've, myself with Jalen Rose, we disagreed on a basketball matter and all of this other stuff. What that brother does in Detroit to contribute to his community and stuff like that. I mean, it's just, you see Ryan Clark, he's got a fitness center. He's helping out young brothers in the NFL on the come up. I'm just so humbled and yet so proud to know so many people by being fortunate enough to work in this business and work for ESPN and beyond, to come across all the brothers and sisters that I know who go about the business of trying to extend themselves to help others on the come up, to recognize the fact that, you know what, it don't mean a damn thing if you at the top all by yourself and you ain't doing anything to reach back and help people to ascend to the levels that you are. So many people in our line of work are doing the same thing that I strive to do every day. And when we look each other in the eye and we know we're like-minded, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to hear. Again, I'm humbled by what he had to say to me, about me, but I feel the exact same way about him. I love him dearly, as I do all those other people that I mentioned, because I know who they are. I know what they stand for. And when it comes to HBCUs, that's just added incentive to love him even more. And I'm really humbled by what he had to say.
No question. It's about paying it forward. And I can't wait to see what he does at Jackson State. All right, fellas, we will leave it there. When we come